The 5 poems in this playlist were published by Leather Eye number 7, and they're an interesting mix of poems. I often submit 5 poems at a time, sometimes more if they allow it, sometimes less when they don't. And I try to get a mix of topics and quality. So I'll usually choose one of my favorite poems at that time to send. So I'm pretty confident this is a good poem, and so I usually pick one of the best ones, and then I pick from the others. And I often have a random kind of lack of theme to those poems. And that's what happened with this submission, and they ended up accepting all of them, which surprised me. So, this first poem, Pantoum, is a specific form called a pantoum. And pantoums are very challenging to do well. And the reason is because two of the lines in the first stanza are repeated in the second stanza. The other two lines in the second stanza are repeated in the next stanza, all the way down to the last stanza, which also repeats the other two lines in the first stanza. So there are 4 repeated lines in that last stanza, and it's very challenging to keep the flow and make sense when you're copying lines like that. I've only written a couple of them. This is one of them to do.
Pantoum. His voice droned on and on and on, echoing through the great hall, bouncing this way and that until it landed on our deaf ears. Echoing through the great hall, the mighty monotone. It landed on our deaf ears, benumbed and transfixed. The mighty monotone of the great professor, benumbed and transfixed our young, incompetent ears. Of the great professor, little more need be said, as our young, incompetent ears filled with knowledge. Little more need be said, as, bouncing this way and that until filled with knowledge, his voice droned on and on and on. Taking umbrage. Umbrage is a cool word, but a wasteful effort. If one takes it to heart and holds it there, it will breed like houseflies on tainted meat, its larvae festering and growing relentlessly until nothing remains but maggots writhing in an empty husk. The heart is gone. The poisonous maggots of hate and bitterness remain, feeding off each other and reproducing themselves indefinitely in the black void where the heart that took umbrage once was.
Smoke Signals is a bit dated, and if you don't know what the Mickey Mouse Club was, you're not going to get the reference to it. So, it's still a good poem even without that, but it does add a little bit to it from a nostalgia point of view.
Smoke signals. Melville lies open on my lap as I lean against the smooth skin of a poplar tree. The spirit of Ahab follows my gaze skyward, through the silver-gray canopy, and harpoons a belching white whale, swimming with the clouds. I laugh, close my eyes, and remember. I was 6 when I learned the clouds held secrets. I knew what a secret was, something you weren't supposed to tell, but I never kept them long. Neither did the clouds. One day I was hiding behind the old maple, the one bigger than God, watching the clouds talk to each other like the engines did on the Lone Ranger when they sent smoke signals to Tonto. One said hello and winked. Another made a funny face. A third wore Mickey Mouse ears. MIC. Then Mom called me in for lunch. The soft mumble of distant thunder summons me back from the memory, and I open my eyes, sigh, and fold Moby Dick between my hands. I stand and search the sky for a great white whale, but all I see are gray-white bubbles of rain. Just rain. But as I walk to my car, I hear, as if whispered from a distance too far to bridge, "See you real soon." Mother's Day. Her skin crinkles as she lifts her fingers a fraction of an inch. I cradle them in mine as if they are butterfly wings. Her lips part as I lean forward, and a wispy draught flutters from her lungs. I listen, look into her sunken gray eyes, and ask, "Are you sure?" She nods, slightly, with great effort. I squeeze her skeletal fingers and open my black bag. The smooth glass bottle molds into the shape of my palm. The syringe breathes in the clear liquid and exhales air bubbles and a tiny stream of morphine. I turn to the IV tube, glance down, and for the first time in weeks, I see her smile.
No, Mother's Day is not an autobiographical poem. My mom is in her 80s and she's still alive and kicking, even though she's got some memory issues. The normal age related stuff. The next poem, The Lucifer Effect, may be disturbing to some viewers, and I was somewhat tempted to put an age restriction on it, but I don't think it's necessary because it isn't graphic enough to warrant it, but it is dealing with a challenging topic. The Lucifer effect is a concept that was introduced by Philip Zimbardo. He's that famous psychologist who did the prison study many years ago. And he was hired as a consultant in the Abu Ghraib case. If you're interested in his involvement in that case and what the Lucifer effect is, he has a TED Talk for it. However, I'm not going to provide a link to that TED Talk because it's one of the more disturbing TED Talks. There are graphic elements in it, there's a frank discussion of evil, and so forth. If you're interested enough to look that up, you can easily find it on your own.
The Lucifer Effect. The news report did not surprise me. US soldiers took a piss on dead Afghani Taliban. In war, the enemy is seen as less than human, evil, as the devil incarnate, and this defilement is not uncommon. Remember Abu Ghraib? Was this news report that different from the terrorists' beheading of Americans? A soldier has to dehumanize the enemy to kill them, and yet, when it's caught on tape, it makes a news report.
I hope you liked this video, and if you did, press the button for it and consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your time.